Welcome, everyone, to episode 11 of season 2 of San Antonio by Night. Last we left off, a couple members of our new cast, as it were, have run into another new addition to the San Antonio Kindred Society by the name of John. Turns out he's a bit abrasive. He's a bit no nonsense, and perhaps Velda and Violet's bit off a little more than they can chew when it comes to him. But the that isn't to say that they dislike this new member of San Antonio, but there's still a lot to learn. Velda, after meeting John, then went and did a little bit of research into the problems that the coterie were facing in the detective and the father. She didn't necessarily have names at the moment, but did what she could with what little she could find. And our coterie has plans for this new night to push some of their plots forward. Amber, you specifically, the night before, had done a little bit of work on Instagram and your different social media platforms to garner more of your money, as your sponsorships and your fans definitely require attention from time to time. But what are your plans for this evening? Now that you have that out of the way.
Yes. Well, now that I've been dealt with that, and now that I've heard back from Velda regarding things, I need to have a talk with her, as that's going to be interesting, and then I need to very, very quickly get on to dealing with Father Trent, which I think I now have an idea that maybe I can wage a war on two fronts, utilizing Benji in such a way that he won't go absolutely nuts and beat the absolute crap out of someone this time. I'm still salty at him about that. He can be unhappy with me all he wants. He's the one who fucked this up. I'm rambling.
If he's going to be
Either way,
helpful, you do have to wake him up.
Yes, I know, and that's going to involve getting someone to feed on. Because if we don't, he's gonna wake up, immediately fly into a frenzy, and I am not strong enough to fight him off. So I suppose we'll also be scouting for someone for him to munch down on. I don't like that. Don't like that I have to do that. Take it out of Benji's hide once he's away.
Yep.
Maybe Velda can help me with that too.
It's certainly going to take a lot to get him back on his feet, that much is certain.
Oh yeah. It's gonna take a lot to get him his feet back. Thank you, Urian.
Miss Violet, what are your thoughts going into this new night about the people that you've met so far and your goings on?
I'm a little concerned. I mean, Detroit was rough around the edges, but San Antonio seems almost even worse from what I've seen so far. But I think I can make it work here. given the right moves, the right alliances, the right words in the right ears.
One of those right ears being Baron Batista if you're wanting to set up a new establishment.
Well, she seems the only logical choice. Jameson's domains are too far out for my kind of work, and, well, Delgato has a whole bunch of roses that might take objection to me moving in.
It certainly would be interesting, no matter where you set down roots. And Velda, our little researcher for the evening.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't come across a whole lot since you didn't have much to go on. And it seems that making amends at the club that you had plans to make amends at also didn't go nearly according to plan.
Yes, I'm not quite looking forward to talking to both Amber and Urian about that, but that will come through. As for the research, well, I got as much as I could get, and it's the effort that counts, no? I'll get a confirmation on those names this evening, and then I can find more information to dig up.
And what do you plan to do with that information? That's the better question.
Who knows? Depends on the information that I find. Maybe we can threaten a family or two. Put a little duress, a little fear here and there. Who knows what you can do with it? But that's not my position to decide. That's for dear Amber.
And there's one person that dear Amber hasn't met yet, and that is the newcomer John.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. A little bit of time, appreciation. Well, who am I kidding? I'm not sure if this Urian guy they keep talking about is all that serious, or he's just chasing tail. Doesn't matter much to me none, but is his whole thing trying to end up getting as many girls and miniskirts as he can get and call it a harem? I don't know what the hell his game is. Who knows, maybe he's just one of those cultist fuckers who said, hey, you know what, I like this whole debauchery thing, let's go. Decide to end up making religion about it or some shit. Either way, not my biggest concern. There's one member I haven't reached out to yet. But Urian said that I better be acquainted with everybody, and he's shown me the corpse. Got in his base and called him Bigby. I had a chuckle about it. I don't get the fucking joke. But end up giving me some kind of contact information. I don't know. Looks like I don't know, some kind of online handle or something. Said I had to end up getting in touch with Miss Dupree, whoever the fuck that is. And she's some kind of internet celebrity. What? God. Just probably another one of his feeding bitches or something. I don't know.
Time will certainly tell, and you have all night to meet her. And now, I would like everyone to make rouse checks. Miss Violet and Amber, you wake to your stomach rumbling. Possibly very loud. But it wants, it needs more and more. Whereas John and Velda are a little luckier in that it stays as quiet as it was yesterday. If it was quiet, anyway. And each of you wakes up in your respective havens for the moment. The decision being is that, Amber, you are making your way back to the meeting house straight from your haven, yes?
Yes.
Unless there are other stops.
Yes, there is going to be one little stop on the way, as I cannot afford to be hungry at all tonight. So I am going to go feed 1 dot off of my herd, which refreshes tonight.
Okay. So you go ahead and do that. For you, it's a 50-50 shot if there's a resonance, yes?
No, I have a resonance. It's a resonance chosen when I buy. It's sanguine. It's roll for temperament.
Okay.
Sorry, roll for
Intensity?
roll for intensity. Yes.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a d10. Okay. Pretty good flavor. It's a little soft, but it's a solid flavor. It's there. It's not bland.
That's more than fine with me. But no, it's just like in the 1 dot and
All right.
leave it in the 1 dot for in case of emergencies.
And you have the one left.
Yes. Don't know yet. Which I will actually make a note of right now. My sheet.
And Miss Violet, Velda, are you doing anything similar? John?
Well, not overtly hungry right now. Pace myself, you know. Not like I got a established herd or nothing here, but I am doing this weird bit. I don't know if this is some kind of sick joke. But god damn it. Trying to end up figuring out on how to end up send a message. Now, I don't think I fully understand why the hell Urian Doyle doesn't use a cell phone. I mean, I have a problem that naturally makes that a bit of a conflict, but...
Technology seems to be a little fuzzy around you a lot of the time.
Yeah, well...
At best.
At this point, I'd settle for a mirror to work. Still, told somebody to get in contact, so gonna have to end up making it a point. Find a way to get a hold of somebody. I think I'm gonna be getting in touch with Carlotta. She can end up doing the run for me. She, after all, she likes the whole Online profiles and all that reserved for people who enjoy that shit. I've never been one of those.
And Carlotta does say that without a problem, she can get you in touch with Miss Dupree. There isn't much of an issue in that regard. Velda, you have a little bit of work to do this evening, and then you're going about your business, yes?
Yes, I would very much like to update my OnlyFans.
Okay.
The fans need attention every now and then.
And where are you headed to after that?
I would simply message Amber to see if there is anything that she needs of me this evening.
You would receive a exceptionally prompt response from Amber that says, "Meet me at the meeting house."
Very well.
Okay. So Velda, John, and Amber are headed to the meeting house. Miss Violet, you have plans to speak with a certain baron this evening, first thing.
I do, at the kind arrangement of Mr. Doyle.
Yes, Mr. Doyle was very, very kind in setting this up for you. So, you make your way downtown to a rather large tower. It's a very, very thin tower, and nearby is probably the tallest hotel in this entire city, as it's nearly as tall. It's a Marriott hotel, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Would you make your way to the lobby of this tower? And it seems like there's very much at the bottom the kind of tourist trap looking spot. You have a gift shop, you have tours, you have things normally reserved during the day as far as like sightseeing from the roof. But the restaurant is open late and looking at it, you do see that there's a dress code for the restaurant, and you have come well in advance prepared for this kind of arrangement. You're in your business suit, nice but slim, very form-fitting, very nice, but very business-oriented. And you enter the elevator, the long elevator, the quick elevator. It's almost as if the centrifugal forces of the elevator kind of throw you off a little bit, because there's only one stop between the tower at the top of the tower and the base. But it opens, and standing there greeting everyone who comes into the restaurant is a man at the maitre d's podium. And he looks you up and down, sees that you are dressed appropriately, and asks you seating for one.
Meeting another. I am Miss Violet, here to meet a Batista.
Ah, yes. I see your reservations right here. Follow me.
Thank you.
And so he leads you through the restaurant to a table that is kind of secluded in the corner. The lights are dim. But the view that you see from the window that you are next to is spectacular with city lights. And if you pay attention long enough, you can see that the view actually spins in that it gives you a panoramic view of the entire city when you rotate the entire route. And it's not terribly long that this gentleman dismisses himself and brings back a glass of water for you, and then makes his way back to the host station. And you're left sitting there for a moment.
To pass the time, I will read the wine menu.
It has a very nice selection, actually. You have several different choices of a lot of different types, and a lot of them are very pricey by the glass and even more pricey by the bottle. It seems like there's some pretty good brands on this list.
Well, at least I know I'm meeting with the right types.
And shortly, after you look over and read nearly the entire wine list, as there's quite a list, you see a woman start to approach the table. And she seats herself on the opposite side, as this table is fairly small. Sits across from you and introduces herself with a handshake in front of you and says, "I'm Angela Batista."
Violet Rousing. A pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you, Miss Rousing.
And you, Miss Batista.
I suppose we have Mr. Doyle to thank for this arrangement. He did contact me in regards to this.
We do, although I do hope this arrangement ends up becoming one between us without the necessary involvement of Mr. Doyle past the initial introductions.
Of course. What can I do for you, Miss Rousing? Getting straight to the point.
Very well. Please forgive me, but I will assume that you know everything and nothing all at the same time. I am recently moved here from Detroit, looking to set up a venue catering to my particular skills and clientele, and, well, honestly, after being in this city a few weeks, I feel that your areas, your domain, would be the best place to do so.
And you're wishing to negotiate this?
I am indeed.
All right. I suppose if we need to speak a little more freely, I can take you back to my office.
That would be best. I always struggle to speak in code.
Very well. I will have someone replace Jaden at the host station, and the three of us can go into have a private conversation.
Certainly. I thank you.
She gets up for a moment, goes to the podium, requests Jaden. He has someone from the staff come and man the station in his place, and the three of you go back through the kitchen, down a hallway, into the office at the very end. Jaden stays outside while the two of you enter and close the door behind you. She sits at a desk with a bit of a banner on the wall behind her, and motions for you to sit at the seat in front of the desk.
I will take the seat. Thank you.
Now, you want to open up a business. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, specifically a club.
A club.
A club with distinguished tastes for the more discerning elite. I will be blunt with you,
Mm.
Baron Batista. I am what some would call a dominatrix. Or at least I was in life.
Mm. And you still carry that
Um,
profession into your own life.
I find it allows me to work with certain influential people who would rather my name very much not appear anywhere on their books. And, well, people tend not to ask questions. It has been a suitable arrangement for some time now, and I see no reason to change.
That's understandable. Stick to your skills.
Indeed.
Am I to assume you are requiring resources in order to establish this little club?
Not so much resources. I brought a little from when I had to settle up in Detroit and should have enough to establish the club to get off the ground. It is more permission and, well, from what I understand, you are greatly experienced with the property in this town and might be able to point me towards a suitable location.
You would not be wrong. I do have a large amount of sway when it comes to the different industries that drive this city. It wouldn't necessarily be hard for you to find an establishment to build this kind of club into. It's just a matter of, is the clientele going to be lucrative enough for you? And for me in return.
Oh, I will guarantee it. This will not be a club with dark mood lighting and sticky floors. This will be a club with dignity, with respect. After all, you will only get through the door if your name is already on the list.
A private club.
That tends to... Private to the right people. And let me just put it this way, the people who do attend, they won't want it known that they are coming to these sorts of clubs, and so they will pay top dollar for discretion. After all, what's the saying? Children and their toys, priests and their boys?
I can definitely see something like that working fairly well in this city. However, while there is a lot of money to be made in the Fortune 500 companies that do come to this city, the primary thing that a lot of people look into is the entertainment and the tourism industries. How would your business cater to those? We have a lot of middle class.
Tourism, well, after all, who's going to look at businessmen coming to San Antonio? I mean, it's hardly Vegas, is it? They come, they stay for a weekend, they get up to some naughtiness, they go home talking about how boring the meetings were. Tourism, much the same. Once word gets out, people would come. Multiple ways.
Alright, I see you do have a fairly solid plan. What do you offer in return?
In return, I offer to help you snub Baron Delgado's nose by outplaying him and his entire little clan of roses. And I also offer you 10%.
10%.
After the first quarter and the club is established, of course. You understand that proper investment helps secure these businesses for future practice.
Yes. $10% and a major boon.
Very well.
After the first quarter, you will start making your payments. And you said that you could offer snubbing Baron Delgado's nose. While I don't have interest in doing something like that currently, as we are working towards trying to fend off a bigger threat.
The Camarilla, I am aware. It is quite the word on the street, and as I mentioned, I came here from Detroit. I have some experience with that.
Then your experience will be invaluable.
All the more reason to have me in your court, as it were.
Jameson's going to pitch a fit.
From all due respect to Baron Jameson, I would not be able to survive in his domain, and not only do I know it, but the other ministry members know it. We've run in different circles. This is just business between me and them. Besides, if I move over, who's to say that you couldn't get more wanting to change sides in the future? Jameson's not really in a position to argue right now.
I'm trying not to be opportunistic.
My situation forces me to be for at least these initial nights in this city.
All right. I believe that someone can get in contact with you in regards to the real estate that you would need. It might take a night or two for that to go through, but you would have your business.
I can hardly wait.
And I can hardly wait as well. The next time you do see Mr. Doyle, give him my regards.
Of course.
Is there anything else I can do for you, Miss Rousing?
Not this evening, although I thank you very much for your time.
And I thank you for your time as well. It's a pleasure doing business with you.
Let us hope it always is.
And she motions towards the door, and the door opens as if by command. Jaden, the man who was at the podium, standing at the door to escort you out.
I will stand up, give a respectful nod to Baron Batista, and walk out the door.
And you are led to the elevator. Is there anything that you wish to say to the man escorting you before you take your leave?
Forgive me, but I must ask, where does Miss Batista get her decorators? This place really has the right sense of decor that I'm going after.
I believe it's a local shop. I can give you the contact information.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
And he gives you a card to a shop local. Seems like it's a downtown shop that specifically works on restaurant decor.
Well, it's a good start, at least.
And he leads you to the elevator and allows you to leave the premises.
As I walk out the lobby, I will call the number of Miss Dupre.
With the intention of all of you meeting at the meeting house?
If that's where she wants to meet, then yes.
Amber, you did get a call pretty early in the evening, about an hour in, saying from Violet. Amber?
His headset is messing up. One second.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
There we
Hey. Yes. Yes, the meeting house will be fine. There is much to discuss.
are. Alright. So, you and it seems everyone else is meeting at the meeting house as well. And when you... Sorry, go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, you sounded like you were gonna say something, so... Alright. So... And Velda and John are also already there.
Yes, yes they are.
Well, a fine evening to everyone. How are we all this night?
Just wonderful.
Yeah, we could say that. Could definitely say that.
Sounds
As
like you're
Velda,
trying to imply something. Hi.
Yes.
Sorry.
There is the matter of the new person. Although you were going to say something, Boba?
oh, I was just going to say, as all this talking is going on, Velda is actually going through her phone, and she's looking up secondhand computers and phones.
you would get a shop that sells that kind of thing. What are you looking for specifically?
Something I can use as a burner.
You would also know that you could buy like prepaid burner phones at your local convenience store as well.
I'm more looking on the computer side of things.
Okay. And secondhand computers are definitely available. You can find them at pawn shops. You can find them just about anywhere.
Yep. So I'm gonna set a few of those in my favorites as we're having this conversation.
Okay.
So, before we get on to the meat of what it is that we're talking about, we have a new person amongst us. And she would look to John.
I believe it's important for the guest to end up or introducing themselves first, though, if I overhear that correctly. Amber, is it?
That is me, yes.
John Bell.
Well, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr. Bell.
He kind of rolls his eyes when he hears that.
Now, I'm not gonna mince words. This entire thing with that we are currently, that you've all been brought on to deal with, is going south faster than someone attempting to escape the border patrol. It's, yeah, not pretty. So, I think in the interest of getting this sorted out as quickly as possible, I'm going to share some information with you, and then we're going to work out a plan such as we end up cinching this quickly and hopefully quietly. I must apologize, Mr. Bell. You've been brought into quite a mess.
Oh, please do tell. Can't get that southern out of his voice.
So, I'll put it like this. Velda, Miss Violet, you'd be aware of the things to do with the priest and the detective. Well, I think it's about time that I gave you some names, as unfortunately, thanks to the fuck up of the man downstairs, I now have quite a large amount on my plate. Priest's name is Father Trent. He is the resident father here for the Catholic congregation here in San Antonio. The detective is one Deacon Johnson, who just so happens to be digging a little deeper for a missing person than he really should have, and is a potential breach of the masquerade if he digs much deeper. Both pose a very serious problem to the security that we are trying to cultivate for the oncoming storm. And as such, we need to deal with them.
Sorry, what was the detective's name again?
Deacon
Deacon.
Johnson.
Now, Father Trent, he runs a church nearby here, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
I already took the liberty of checking it out. Seems that the place is a newer church. graveyard on site or anything like that. And it shuts for the night, which is a problem. It would be interesting to
Odd.
find out when it closes. Apparently, this church also runs online services.
So it's one of those newer
Hmm.
institutions. Right. Okay.
Perhaps something there can be used to your advantage.
Maybe it
Also, I did a bit
can.
of looking up on Mr. Deacon. More, I looked up on various investigators in the area, and Mr. Deacon popped out to me. I noticed he has a family, wife and child. Child is
Yes.
only about 2 years old.
Daughter.
Uh-huh. Seems he doesn't spend a lot of time at home. The mother only tends to post photos of the daughter.
Hmm.
He also posts a lot of inspirational quotes, but he doesn't post often. I'm thinking it might be an idea to have a look at some of the landmarks in the photos. See if we can't find out what area they're in.
Oh, I know where he lives. That's not a problem.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
why ain't he dead?
Because he can't be killed. Unfortunately,
That's a
that
bold
would
statement.
not in a matter of he's indestructible. In a matter of killing him makes many, many more problems than we really need right now. So for convenience's sake, he must be left alive. But
And does the same hold true for this Trent individual?
as far as I'm aware, no. I'll make sure to I'll check to make sure, but as far as I'm aware, no. But it is better that he's not found dead, as I do have something in mind to take him out of the picture.
Well, sharing is caring.
First things first. On the matter of Deacon,
And I was about to ask about that. People go missing all the time. What's so special about this case that's got our detective as a danger to us? How badly did you screw up here?
oh no, this has absolutely nothing to do with me. This is more Urian. Just so happens to be the only lead in a missing persons case. A missing person that disappeared under our kind of circumstances.
Meaning, if Deacon
But,
goes missing, Urian will be somebody that gets looked at. Correct?
Exactly.
but again, I must ask, how did Urian end up tied up to this case anyway? That... No offense, but I've met the man. That doesn't seem like his style.
Everyone makes mistakes.
He was the last person seen with the missing person, one Dante O'Donoghue.
And who might I end up asking is that?
Right now, he's in a grave somewhere around here, I imagine.
That wasn't the question.
If we're talking about Dante, then I don't know.
Might be helpful to find out.
All I know is that he was removed from the picture as he was causing problems.
What kind of problems?
I believe he might have been looking into some things that he really shouldn't have been.
Like?
I, on that one, do not know the specifics. Basically, I was told to deal with Deacon and not worry about Dante.
Oh boy.
But the reason why Dante is in the ground is unimportant. What is important was that Dante was a family friend of the Johnsons, which is why Deacon is looking into this off the clock.
So this isn't official.
No. Which
Well, then
is
that's
why... Which is why Plan A is going to be distracting him with official duties.
That's a temporary fix, unless you mean for it to go on forever.
Distracting him from official duties by removing Urian from the equation.
And how do you intend on doing that?
By framing someone for Urian's, and she uses air quotes here, murder. The first idea was to use Father Trent for it. Place Urian as a repentant soul out by the lake. Oh God, what have I done?
I mean, you're adding an extra variable where there doesn't need to be one.
Yes, which is why we're going. Now that I've got a little bit of extra help, we're going to go with a two-pronged approach.
Well,
We're going to distract you. We're going to distract Deacon in a different way. And Violet, I believe your talents might be useful here.
Or what, Velda? Can't you seduce a single cop? After all, you said his family situation wasn't very good.
Oh, it's not that.
Oh, it's simple, really. The basics is that Violet, we're not looking for mere seduction. We're looking for a transgression of his vows. We need to
You
drive
want
a
me
wedge
to
and
tie him up, blackmail him, and force him into silence?
I mean, you could do that. If you wanted to tie him up, blackmail him, and force him into the silence. Otherwise, driving a wedge between him and the rest of his family would suffice.
Can I be honest?
Sure,
Just
go
putting
ahead.
this out there. This is messy. From the very start, whatever happened, which the simple fact we don't know what we're trying to clean up means that it's even harder to contain this mess. But
Cleanup is basically getting him away from looking at Urian. That's the cleanup.
Why doesn't he just tell me, why is it that he doesn't just deal with it himself?
Because he likes to test people.
Oh,
Yeah.
goody.
also,
Yeah,
you
you
mentioned planning to have Urian killed. Why not just make Deacon kill Urian? He goes down, he thinks the suspect is dead. There is nothing. It is a closed loop. You do not need to bring the father into it.
The fact that Deacon doesn't want Urian dead. Deacon wants Urian for questioning.
There are ways to make people do things they don't normally do. And there's this wonderful thing called cameras nowadays to record it, and people to have cell phones to capture a cop going rogue. And, well,
More,
that's an open and shut case, isn't it?
more to the question. If Urian goes dead and suddenly starts showing up again on the radar, then that throws any case against Deacon out the window. Because that is always a risk.
the thing is that you're not framing Deacon, you're framing in that plan you were framing Trent. But as I said, that's not really the plan anymore. So the plan will be to drive a
From what I
wedge to
see, there is no plan. You are asking me to walk into a unknown situation with a cop who has a unknown grudge because we do not actually know anything about him and his relationship to Dante O'Donoghue. Hell, they could even be adopted brothers for all we know. You have
well,
told
no,
me
it's already.
nothing, and you expect me to walk in there and just break apart this little happy family?
Apparently, they're not so happy from what Velda said. But no, I already told you that friend of the family was the relationship between the two.
All I am
Maybe
saying
Violet can't
is
do
this
it.
is full of holes and shaky. Velda, do you want to take over this? Because I will happily let you handle this one, and I will go handle the Catholic.
Oh, but I want to handle Father Trent. Mind
You're not a
you,
schoolboy, dear. He's not your type.
neither are you. Then again, I'm wondering, would it be out of the question to do a little more research? Maybe a little digging on this Dante O'Donoghue?
We could do such things, but unfortunately, time is of the essence.
It is of the essence. But it's amazing what you can find out.
And there's one other thing that we also need to deal with, which is a massive pain.
Hmm.
Well,
Man
don't leave us in
downstairs.
suspense.
The man downstairs. Benji. Big B.
Ah, yes. Benji.
Unfortunately, leaving him asleep is not going to do us any good. Need all the hands on this that we can get. So, we're going to need to go and find someone, because as soon as I wake him up, he's going to go ballistic.
Oh, that's to be expected.
So, that'll be a thing that we're doing tonight as well. It's not gonna feel good. And the reason I'm doing it is because I need him awake. Now, my idea is this. As far as Dante is concerned, we'll do a little more research. And Violet, as I said, I think you would be the best person to deal with the issue of Deacon. Velda, given
Yeah.
your rather obvious religious affiliation, you would be in the perfect position to deal with Father Trent as a repentant soul. That will be a war on two fronts, as Benji will come into play as a framing piece.
Oh,
I'm
I
going.
don't think he'll be happy with that, considering he's got
Well,
no say.
yes, well, I'm cleaning up his mistake, so
Fair.
he gets to deal with that whether he likes it or not. And Mr. Bell, or John, if I can call you John. I think the best way for you to be of assistance right now is to help in the acquisition of food for our friend downstairs. I'm sure Urian took a note to show you the state of him.
Yeah, so.
Yes. So pretty, but so gruesome. So, that's the absolute basics of what's going to be going on tonight, as this needs to be dealt with quickly. this agreeable? She looks to everyone else.
Color me excited.
Great, get in here 5 minutes. Go fetch something to eat. Fine. Keep laughing, bitch. See what happens.
Oh, so testy.
I seem to be the only one here with him. He gets up and he just starts walking for the door.
It'll be more for
Violet
you
will
to
just
do in the...
Violet will follow him.
Seems you haven't made any friends with this little plan of yours, Miss Amber.
Yeah, that shit was going south and it just keeps on going.
Well, Mr. John doesn't seem like he likes to be bossed around by anyone. And Miss Violet, well, we'll see.
It's fine. When I asked what I did, it was request, not an order. I don't tell people
Indeed.
to do things, I ask them to do things. We
That
are
being said,
peers.
did you get my message concerning the problems I ran into last night?
I did. I did.
Any suggestions as a more senior member of this coterie?
Yeah. Um, if I'm to be honest, we're going to need to make sure that the next time that you go in there, you're not... They haven't marked you down on some kind of blacklist, or that particular member of staff is not working that night. At least
Fair
for
enough.
now. In the long term, well, if it ends up not being able to be fixed in mundane options with my assistance, then... well, we might have to be a little bit more forceful about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
goody.
We just need to get this done and out of the way so that we might get some of the pressure off of our backs so that we can get back to working on what's important, which
All
is
right.
preparing for the shitstorm that is inevitably heading our way.
Well, Velda is going to hand over the list of names that she'd been researching. And she says, these are all detectives, potentially people that work with Mr. Johnson. Perhaps they might come in handy.
Should have a look through the list of names. Are there any that I notice on here? Like, is there a Chuck?
No.
The list that Velda was able to determine was a list of people whose names start with D. And the names
okay.
on the list are Diana Collins, David Lopez, Deacon Johnson, D'Angelo Munez, and Dylan Hunt.
Okay. Keep those in mind just in case we need someone to respond to Deacon going
Well,
rogue.
these are just names that I pulled up while searching for Mr. Johnson. As for Father Trent, tell me, what is our time limit on this?
We have a couple of nights at most. But we are going to be cinching that one very quickly. as you and I are going to take a little trip.
Well, please keep in mind that only fools rush in.
Oh yes, but
I had thought to check out one of the father's live streams of his services to get a feel for how he runs things. What makes him charismatic enough to pull this off and not yet be dead? Because surely Mr. Urian is not the only one he's causing problems.
no, most likely not. So if you would like to keep an eye on that.
Indeed. Well, that was the plan anyway.
Right. Well, we are going to head out because there's a little visit that we must take.
Very well. Then I shall follow you.
And we can cut back to John and Miss Violet, who have exited the house prematurely to Velda and Amber. Where are you two headed?
I'm on my way to my damn car. Right now, I need to... Right now, I just need to end up figuring out how the hell to end up coming up with food. Be a quick road trip.
John, a word, if I may.
What?
This is going to end badly. I hope you see that as well. I mean, our acquaintance inside Valda going after a priest, she couldn't charm a bouncer to get into a club.
Not my problem.
Yeah, well, it's gonna become our problem. But if that happens, I guess we'll have to clean up the mess.
What's this wee bullshit? I can walk away at any time I want. I'm here because I heard some rumblings. And instead, what I just sat in was a goddamn sewing circle of people whining about problems, but not one of them wanting to do something about it. I was told a problem, so I'm gonna go do something about it. I don't do well with the whole sitting kumbaya, trying in, going, oh, what's the best thing? Yeah. So, he opens up his car door.
Well, have fun kidnapping a hitchhiker then. And Violet will close the door on him and walk to her car.
Hitchhiker. Please, they got bars in this city.
Where are you off to, Miss Violet?
Miss Violet is just going to drive away, get into the city for a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then she is going to do some of her own research into Deacon Johnson. Not that much. She's simply looking for what station he calls home.
Okay. And that's not necessarily too hard to find. You find that he is stationed at the North Side Independent School District precinct. And that's where he calls home.
Awesome. Violet's gonna start driving there.
All right. Velda and Amber, where are you headed?
We're gonna head to the hospital where Hannah is.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead and move over there. Okay. Sorry, just loading up the scene a little bit. Alright. So the two of you make your way to the UT Medicine campus, just a little ways past the sanctuary domain. And what do you intend to do?
I'm gonna turn to Velda and tell Velda that I'm going to require you to stay here for a moment. I need to go and speak with the girl inside alone. I am masquerading as a member of the church, and I think she'll be very interested in what I have to say. Whilst that's happening, try and take a look at some of the saved live streams from these sermons. See if you can figure anything out about that.
That's the plan. Actually, in fact, Velda probably would have been going through these live streams on the way over.
Okay.
As Amber would have been driving.
Most of them are hosted on the church's Facebook page, so you can listen through them, and you definitely can tell that he's a very charismatic person. Definitely speaks with a lot of sympathy and compassion, and seems like an all-around good preacher.
Looking at the comments underneath of the videos, is there anything? What kind of comments are there?
Lots of little things that don't really mean a whole lot. There's the occasional kind of slanderous one. There's the occasional like praise of the pastor, all of that kind of thing. You know, normal YouTube comment kind of bullshit that you see. The view count is pretty high. The like count is pretty high. It's...
What kind of slanderous comments are there?
General anti-Christian.
Just general anti-Christian. Nothing personal in there?
Doesn't seem to be.
No accusations of anything or anything of the like?
I would say give me a resolve plus technology. No, you keep scrolling, you don't really see anything.
Fair enough.
And while Velda's doing this, Amber, you're going up to see Hannah, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you sign in at the desk and go about the usual kind of rigmarole when it comes to signing in. She is in her room, so you do see her there. But you also see that there is another person who is kind of taking her taking her chart, kind of looking it over, kind of doing a little bit of work as well, kind of making sure that she's comfortable and stable and just attending to her needs.
Oh, it's the bigger error. Okay. So I'll wait until the doctor is done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's working. I don't need to get in his way any.
And shortly after he sets the chart back down at the end of the bed, kind of just hanging it there, he does spot you. Oh, hello. Fancy seeing you here again.
Yes, I've come to visit.
All right. She's doing good, so feel free.
Amber would come and sit down next to the bed in the chair.
Hi, she says to you.
Hello, my dear.
Um, uh, I'm a little confused as to why you're here. I don't really know you.
I have some news.
You do?
Yes. Regarding the things that went on while you're in here.
Okay.
You see, I discovered the identity of who did this.
I don't necessarily care who he was, I just want him in jail.
Oh, you will. It turns out that one of the congregation found out about your particular interests.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, have you ever heard of a Mr. Doyle?
Yeah. Uh, that's who was that's who that guy, that red-haired guy. That's who he said he was part of the congregation of Beelzebub, and that's Pastor Doyle's, right?
Yes. But the thing is, he was lying, my dear.
Lying.
Lying.
I don't understand. Why would he lie about that?
Someone found out from the congregation that you were partaking of Pastor Doyle's sermons, and they took it into their own hands.
That seems really stupid.
It is exceptionally stupid. You're an innocent woman who got hurt for absolutely no reason.
I Okay. Um no one from Father Trent's congregation has ever said they disliked me. I mean, someone like him, I would have noticed them at church.
You see, he is a newcomer to the congregation.
But we go to that kind of
It-
lengths.
A bit zealous in his beliefs. So, my dear, I would be wary of Father Trent from now on. I don't know, but he may have known about this.
I'm so confused.
I am as well.
You said you're a member of Father Trent's congregation.
I am.
Are you here to hurt me?
No. It seems that there is a little bit of factional infighting. There are moderates, like myself, and then there are those who are attempting to... Purge is a strong word, but what they see is purging the filth of San Antonio, which, as far as they are concerned, includes the congregation of Beelzebub, Pastor Doyle's little endeavor.
Amber, I want you to make an insight check. A wits
Yeah,
plus
make an
insight.
Wits insight?
Mm-hmm.
I will willpower the 2 normal dice.
You can obviously see that her eyes keep darting to that call doctor button.
All I can say, my dear, is be careful, okay? The last thing we want to see is you getting hurt again. And she's gonna take her leave real quick.
You continue down the halls. Is everything all right, madam? Someone calls from the other end of this, the other end of the hallway as you're passing through.
Oh, yes. Was just leaving. Got a call. Something big going on that I need to get to. Bit of an emergency.
Is everything all right in there?
Oh yes, everything's fine. And she would give a sweet smile. Now, I really must go.
All right. Have a good night then.
And you as well. And she's getting out of there.
And you make your way out of the building. Velda's still in the car, doing a little bit of research.
Amber's gonna hop in the car and drive off as if nothing happened. Oh, that could have gone better.
It could have gone better.
Yeah.
What happened?
Turns out my persuasion skills aren't as good as I thought they were.
We all make mistakes.
It was more confusion than outright rejection, but it doesn't really achieve what I was aiming to achieve.
So what's the story
Oh.
with this place?
Well, basically, she had gone absolutely apeshit and beat the crap out of a poor woman.
I see.
And the reason he ended up like that is because he didn't tell Urian that he'd screwed up, as she is a member of his congregation. Or was a member. I'm pretty sure she's gone now. Yeah, which is, and between that and Father Trent proselytizing, I'm trying to keep the congregation from falling apart. Which isn't easy. It's really.
No, I don't imagine it is. So, Benji beat this poor woman up,
Yes.
and you're here to pull her back into the fold?
Yes, but also no. With what he did, I mean, she ended up in the ICU. He said that he was from the congregation. I just tried to convince her otherwise. It didn't go so well. She's
Where did you try to
confused.
Where did you try to convince her he was from? That's not an easy thing to pass up. He said he was from the congregation, but he's not.
No, I told her that he lied about it. That he wasn't from the congregation, that he was from the church. That he was a newcomer
Ooh.
that he was a newcomer to the church who had heard about her participation in the congregation of Beelzebub and decided to take things into his own hands.
Oh dear. You know she's now going to be looking over her shoulder constantly, right?
She was going to be doing that anyway.
Yes, but now you've given her nowhere kind to flee.
Yes, that is true.
And on top of that, she may now start asking questions of the church.
She probably will start asking questions of the church, but that's
Which will raise
hopefully.
questions about you and your face. Which makes our job in the long road that much harder.
I didn't expect such a gleaming failure on my part, but in for a penny.
In for a pound, and a pound this shall be.
Yes. Now we need to go and.
Well,
We're all in, so we may as well continue to push this angle. I have a reporter who I owe some information. I think I might feed him a little bit of a scoop.
what scoop? Before you go ahead and rush in, what scoop?
That there so happens to be some zealots amongst the church.
Stop. Right there. You need to stop. We need more information before you start making moves. From what I can find on Father Trent's videos, he seems like a charismatic and all-around good preacher. There are very few negative comments concerning him and his person or his congregation on his social media. Now, this could have been filtered out. Then again, it could just be that there aren't very many bad comments about them. I think a little foot on the ground action is necessary. We need to know exactly who we're dealing with before we start poking the beehive, if you will.
In that you're right. To the church, then?
To the church. But this time, you stay in the car.
Yeah, sure. And to the church they shall go.
And I believe that's where we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back, everyone. And we'll come back and find out if John is successful at finding something for Benji to eat, and what Miss Violet's going to be doing for the rest of the night. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to San Antonio by Night, The Oncoming Storm, Episode 11. While Velda and Amber are doing some research and looking in on a girl by the name of Hannah at UT Medicine, John and Violet are off doing their own things, and one of those being that John is out looking for something for Benji to eat in order to be revived. So, John, how do you plan to do this?
I'm heading out to the local watering hole. I'm mostly into having a sense of these things. Somebody's gonna go out. Somebody's gonna get disappointed. Somebody's gonna go out for a smoke. When that happens, I'm just gonna get out of my car, bring them on in. Doesn't require much effort, truthfully.
Would that be with your charm and wit, or would that be by force?
Neither. I'm just telling them get in the fucking car.
Okay. And that's with
Yeah,
with a
that's what dominate.
with dominate? Okay. And
Compel.
so you wait for about 5 minutes behind the back of this particular establishment. You run across that exact scenario, that someone comes out to the back for a smoke break, and then when you walk up to them and you look them in the eyes and speak the words "get in my car," they immediately drop their cigarette and go kind of limp looking and follow you into your vehicle.
As soon as they get in, I tell them sit down, yeah, be quiet, and I just start driving.
Okay. Do you go straight back to the meeting house?
Yeah. I'm gonna be telling them what to do and how to get through it the whole time. It's not gonna matter much.
Okay.
If you didn't want to die, you shouldn't be smoking.
If you didn't want to die, it shouldn't have been smoking. Well, then, Miss Violet. Before we cut over back to the meeting house where I am imagining that most people are gathering for this particular night, we are going to join Miss Violet in that she's going to the Northside ISD police precinct. And you want to speak with Deacon Johnson's supervisor.
Or the head of the precinct, whoever's available.
Okay. So you walk into the precinct. You come with a pair of sunglasses prepared, because these fluorescent lights are lighting up every corner of this particular building as you walk into the lobby. And there is a receptionist at the desk that asks you how to help you, and you go about. Do you ask for this person by name?
I would.
Okay. Then, just as a quick note before this, how would you have gone about finding his supervisor's name?
If I was asking for them by name, I would have found whoever the current highest ranking officer in charge of the building is, the police chief in charge of night shift or whatever.
Okay. And so, the person says, "Okay, yeah, they should be able to see you here in a few minutes if you'll just take a seat." And
Okay.
Okay. And so the receptionist pulls out a phone and begins to dial a couple of numbers to reach the highest ranking individual on site. And the and a woman comes into view from the rest of the uh, from the rest of the precinct, and she looks around, sees you. Hi, can I help you?
I do believe you can, and I would like to use entrancement on this person.
Okay. And that is an auto success versus mortals? Or is that a roll off?
It is charisma plus presence versus composure plus wits.
Composure wits. Okay, so I don't see this person having. Well, let's see actually. Okay. Just looking at something here. Let's do that. Oh, not
D20?
not D20s. Let's do D10s. Okay. They have one success on you. So you
Okay, so this lasts for the next 5 hours.
perfect. And she kind of looks at you.
6 hours.
She kind of looks at you and is like, and I'm sorry, what was your name?
My name is not important. What is important is the actions of one of your officers.
Okay.
Could we please speak in your office?
Yeah, definitely. This way. And she starts to lead you down the hallway uh, into uh, into a larger office. You can tell that this is a police captain's office, and she kind of motions to you for the chair in front of the desk, and she's going to sit at the desk on the other side.
For the purposes of this meeting, I'm afraid my name must remain as Mrs. Johnson. I hope you understand.
Mrs. Johnson, all right. And what can I do to help you?
It has come to the attention of my agency that one of your detectives, a Deacon Johnson, is in his off time investigating a missing person he has a personal attachment to. For reasons that I cannot disclose, we would like Detective Johnson to decease in this activity.
Okay. For a persuasion check, what would entrancement do? Just basically.
It means I can add my presence modifier to that persuasion check.
Okay. Then roll me a charisma plus persuasion or subterfuge.
I'm going to go for persuasion. And that's at 3. Ooh.
Okay. She kind of looks to you. Okay, so you're all right. Your agency. If your name must remain fairly neutral, are you free to give me your agency's name?
All I can say is we are currently concerned with potential terrorist activity within the city, which I am afraid that the person involved got caught up in. For his safety, and to prevent further danger to him or his family, we had to remove him.
I see.
You are a smart lady. I assure you that, while I cannot say it out loud, the fact that I am dealing with a terrorist incident within domestic borders should explain the current situation and which agency I belong to.
Right, right. That's entirely fair. Um, right. Yes, the case that you're talking about. Which case?
One Dante O'Donoghue, currently down as a missing persons.
Yes, Dantalion O'Donoghue.
Sadly, some subordinates were sloppy, and it turns out that Detective Johnson is a family friend of Mr. O'Donoghue, and so he is now investigating and potentially endangering both his life and the life of O'Donoghue and multiple innocents.
Would you be able to close the O'Donoghue case? Do you have
cannot
evidence
in a
for
way
it?
that Sadly, I cannot in a way which would currently not tip off those we are observing. We are currently making actions, and we hope that eventually it will be safe for O'Donoghue to return, but until that point and when that point is, I cannot say.
And so for now, Mr. Johnson, which I would imagine is no relation, must cease. The whole
Unless
department
you
must cease.
you can continue looking, and Vibes will make a quotation marks, but at the same point, it is more actively Mr. Johnson's off hours investigation which is causing us some concern.
Would on hours cause a concern?
That entirely depends on where Mr. Johnson is poking.
All right. I can certainly pull him from the case. I was hoping that his connection would
let's
help
just
be
honest.
helpful.
Actually, the impersonal bias actually would work against you. I mean, you could throw anything out of course based on personal bias of the arresting officer. That was sloppy, I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Then I will move someone else on the case.
May I kindly suggest someone who is perhaps not the hardest worker in the precinct?
I can put one of my newbies on it.
I would be very, very grateful if you could.
Then I suppose we'll consider that done.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I am glad we're able to resolve this peacefully and amicably. Do let Johnson know that O'Donoghue sends his regards, but Patriot Act.
Right. Perfect. I'll let him know.
And also do make it clear that if he doesn't drop this, well, one of the reasons that we had to pull out Mr. O'Donoghue is that his family came under risk. And I would hate for the same thing to happen to our dear friend Mr. Johnson.
Understood.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day, Mrs. Johnson.
And you, Captain?
Huerta.
water.
And she just allows you to leave as soon as you're wanting to leave.
And I walk out. And I get in my car and I drive away. And I double check to make sure I'm not being followed.
Make me a wits plus awareness in that regard, then.
I'm going to spend a willpower on that.
Okay.
Because I have to be sure. 2 successes.
No, doesn't seem like anybody's tailing you. And so you head back to where?
I am going to head back to the coterie house.
The meeting house? Sure.
Yep.
Then we can move over there. And the 4 of you have returned. More or less.
Weren't Velda and Ember going to the church?
Were they?
Yep. They were. If Amber is let know that someone from Benji has been captured, though, then they'll probably go deal with that first and then do the church. Taking a detour.
I mean,
Just depends on whether she's let know of the things having been done.
the time you went to the hospital and then going to the church compared to the time it took John and Violet to do their respective jobs, you would probably honestly just be pulling up outside the church before Violet could get back, and obviously John cannot use a phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys spent a lot of time at the hospital.
At the hospital. Yeah, so
So it's up to you where you want to be. Miss Violet and John would be arriving at the meeting house fairly close together, since their tasks didn't take a whole long.
we'll go back to the to the meeting house then. Considering we've all done a task, it'd probably be a better idea to check in and see how things are going, and then move off again.
Okay. Yeah, because it's like about 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah. So the church would probably be shut anyway. Because so the church closes apparently.
It does.
It's not going to be open at 1. It's not going to be open at 2 a.m.
So, the 4 of you are present.
Yeah.
Arriving individually, but the 4 of you are present. Was there any
Volder and Amber would be together, but
Was there anything that Miss Violet and John wanted to talk about before Velda and Amber arrive, or do you want to start there?
You have any problems with your job?
I imagine at this point there's some banging on the door from basement. A lot of screaming to let me out.
Yep, there's a lot of that happening. Muffled, but yes.
Kind of looks over to Violet. Nope.
Mine either. Let's hope the girls had as much success.
And that is when the girls would arrive.
Amber's gonna head inside.
We're back.
Welcome back. I am happy to report the Detective Deacon will be reprimanded, taken off the case, and one of their more inexperienced officers put into the missing person case of O'Donoghue.
Well done.
Yes, well done.
Thank you. How did your night go?
Mm.
Oh, that's not a good noise.
Well, it could have gone worse. So I'd call it a net 0.
We paid a visit to UT Medicine Campus.
What for?
Turns out Mr. Benji's victim is there.
And what room would I find this victim?
Pardon?
What room would I find this victim in?
I don't
Amber
know.
would give the room number.
John stands up and starts walking towards the door.
Wait. Mr. Bell, what are you planning?
He's going to fix your problem, Amber.
Oh. Oh, no.
I figured that much would be obvious.
Well, it was kind of a screw to pooch anyway, so if it must.
Oh, what? This suddenly gonna bring you to tears. Tell you what, let me
Do you see
explain.
any, Mr. Bell?
Maybe I should end up expressing this a little bit more clearly. A walks towards the basement door, gives it a rap. Just a knock, make sure the person on the other side can hear him.
And you hear screaming and someone saying, "Let me out, let me out." They're
You're quite
frantic.
You want to end up getting out? It's really simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to end up playing a little game.
A game?
Yeah. You see, in the key to this door is attached to something. You find it with your cellmate. Attached right on the other side that's sticking out of them. If you get that out, you unlock it, well, your troubles be over. If you don't, you can just stay there and starve to death. Choice is yours.
ooh, jigsaw reference. I like.
Shut up, bitch.
And
Didn't take me for a movie buff.
and below the basement goes quiet for a little while.
Well, I mean, he needs to be. So Amber says this quietly. Well, he needs to be awoken from torpor first.
Oh, we'll end up finding out. See, when was the last time you had a piece of wood through you, Amber?
Talking literally, then 3-ish years ago.
Okay, so you might remember that once it's pulled out, you might get a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction, you know, enough to kind of take a chance. And if Benji is, or if, yeah, that guy is as tough as you say, I imagine at about 2-3 minutes, that individual's gonna make a attempt. There's no other way out of that basement. So, desperation kicks in. They pull it out, and they're already in his arms at that point. Instinct will take it from there.
Well, I suppose you're not wrong. Right.
So, you want to deal with this problem? Oh, okay. Gone silent then.
I actually didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
You want to deal with this problem then, or am I going to be sitting in the middle of another sewing circle?
Yeah. Okay. Deal with it.
Anybody got a pair of binoculars?
No.
What's the condition of this individual?
Well, they were in the
Serious but stable.
ICU.
Seriously unstable?
No, serious but stable.
Serious but stable. Well, we can end up changing that pretty fucking quick.
She's feeling paranoid too, by the way. Thanks to Amber.
Alright. So if that's the case, let's deal with it. And he ends up in his car.
Amber has no choice but to let him go. She didn't want to screw it up this badly, but now there's not really many ways out of it. None
Now,
of them are pretty.
as for Father Trent, I'll deal with him early tomorrow evening.
Oh, I should also mention the individual below doesn't have any of their valuables on them. No keys, no wallet, no nothing.
The human that you brought down?
Yep.
Okay. Stripped of all other valuable things. Those are now in your possession.
Yeah.
And it's about 30 seconds later, Amber, Velda, and Violet, that you hear a very loud scream. And the rending of flesh, the growling of an individual, and eventually silence.
You know, one part that Mr. Bell didn't mention that he is quite clever for, he left leaving us to deal with your quite angry friend. I hope you are on really good terms with them.
Yeah. If I'm not, then, well, I'll get what I deserved, won't I?
Oh, don't say it like that. Velda's actually
Not
going to
being
move
correct.
up to the hatch, and she's going to tap on the door, and she's going to be like, Mr. Benji, are you in a fit state to talk?
What?
I would take that as a yes. It's a pleasure to finally speak to you. My name is Velda.
I can hardly hear you.
I need your assurances that you're not going to rip us apart as soon as we open the door, Mr. Benji.
I'm kind of in pain.
Well,
Yeah,
I do imagine you would be.
Yeah. Uh, well, maybe we can deal with that. Amber is gonna. I'll go down. Amber
Velda
will
will go down with her.
yeah, open the hatch
Violet will
just
stay upstairs.
just enough to slip down onto the stairs into the basement and walk down.
Okay. So John's made his way off to go and deal with the problem in the hospital.
Hospital.
But the rest are going down to the basement.
Except for Violet, who's gonna stay
Except for
upstairs.
Violet, who is staying upstairs.
Violet
Because
staying
obviously that's a smart
upstairs.
decision. Uh,
And
and
when you come downstairs and you see Benji, you see that the thing that's probably healed the most is his face. His arms and his legs are still gone. He's kind of flopped on the ground, kind of face down, in a pile of rended flesh and blood, and is trying to lift himself up, but is not having a very good time doing so. It's kind of embarrassing.
Amber
Quite a situation you're in.
Amber is gonna come over, moving behind him to make sure that he can't bite her, and lift him up a bit so that he can sit up somewhat, so that he's just not just lying there.
And he kind of cringes a bit in pain. Fuck.
Sorry, dear.
What the fuck? Alright. Okay. Yeah, who were you in black hair? What the fuck?
My name is Velda.
Right.
I made your acquaintance before, but I don't think you were conscious.
Yeah, it's all fuzzy.
As one would expect, you were in quite the condition when we moved you down here.
You could say that.
Right. What's up?
We needed to wake you up. Shit's gone south.
Yeah. I could say that. Definitely is a thing.
To the point where I've had to get 3 new people on board to
Oh, great.
try and sort this out.
Velda gives him a little wave.
She's one of them. Another one is upstairs. A third is out dealing with the mess you left behind.
Yes, your mistake.
Yeah,
The one in the ICU.
I'm sorry about that. I was going to fix it. I was going to
Benji.
fix it.
Benji, I know. The problem is that you didn't say anything about it sooner.
Yeah, I get that that was the part where I fucked up. I get it. You don't need to tell me again.
I didn't think that he was gonna go so far.
Yeah. It's kind of a lot not having arms and legs right now. I
Or
am in
most
shock,
skin.
kind of.
Just as well
Yeah.
that shock won't kill you.
Yes, both metaphorically and most likely very, very literally. Look, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna get you fed.
God. Fuck me.
Maybe later.
Fuck off. Okay. Cool. I didn't really want to push it because I didn't know when the next one was gonna come, and I don't want to kill anybody again. That's. Ooh. He kind of just looks at the puddle of the person that he eviscerated and starts to just turn back to Amber. It's like, I don't want to look at that.
We'll remove it. We'll remove it in a moment. But unfortunately, this is what's necessary to heal this kind of damage. It's gonna take you a lot of blood, a hell of a lot of blood,
Yeah.
and so you might end up killing again. And I'm
Fuck.
sorry for that.
I'd say it's a little more than a might.
And you're
Well-
just fucking okay with this?
No.
Oh no.
You seem
But
real
if it's a
okay with this.
necessity,
Amber lets out a deliberate breath, and it's actually kind of shuddery. And whether that's voluntary or involuntary, it's rather hard to tell. She kind of kneels in front of him, and the prickle of red appears at the corners of her eyes, and just like, of course I'm not alright with it, Benji. I'm not alright that you're like this. As soon as I saw you, I was horrified. I mean, as I said, I had no idea that he was gonna go this far.
Yeah, he crashed my car. And then he
We can-
attacked me, Amber.
Yeah. Look, I don't know exactly what he did. This is news to me. He went looking for you because I found out that you were the one who had put her in a hospital, and I wasn't left with a lot of choice.
Yeah, I didn't say anything because I've been trying to be very independent. You know? Not need Isabella's help. Not need Urian's help. You know, that's kind of a thing. But I was gonna call for Isabella's help because, fuck it, I don't know how to change people's memories.
Well, look, I don't know how to do that either. But, Benji, there's a difference between being independent and keeping secrets. Like, if you had simply told Urian and then gone, I have a plan to deal with this, he would have let you go. He would have let you just deal with it. But you said nothing.
You don't think that's a
Then-
little helicopter-y?
It's not helicoptery when you're in a team with peers. That's what a coterie is. We do shit together. If you say that, if you want to do something on your own, all you have to do is just say that. Urian had enough trust in you to deal with it on your own. I mean, I don't know how he feels now. I haven't properly spoken to him about it since it happened.
Where's he at?
Dealing with... I think he's dealing with Carlos and the Thin Bloods, I think. I haven't seen him tonight. He's probably off doing something.
And not saying anything about it. Seemed a little hypocritical.
How do you figure?
I don't know. You don't know what the fuck he's up to right now.
No, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck he's up to right now. But I'm sure if I was to find him and ask him what it is that he was doing, he would tell me. The only reason I don't know is because I haven't gone seeking that information.
Fair.
I've been busy trying to sort out this stuff with Deacon and Trent and
How's
Velda
that
and
going, by the way?
oh, the one upstairs. Her name is Miss Violet. She said that Deacon has been pulled off the case of O'Donoghue, and hopefully that should stop him looking into Urian, at least in an official capacity. If he keeps looking in an unofficial capacity, then I'll deal with it. As for Trent, that's something that we're working on it. That's something that needs to be dealt with tomorrow. And that's something Velda's going to help me with.
First thing.
Yeah, first thing tomorrow night.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's been the only word going through my brain for the past 48 hours. Fuck.
I think you both need to take a deep breath.
I mean, yeah. The tears reflexively started flowing. They're not pouring too much, just a couple, but it does leave streaks through Amber's makeup. And as she feels them run down her face, there's a quiet mumble of, "Oh fuck, now I need to fix my makeup."
I have extra in the bag upstairs.
Yeah, I've got a pack in my car for just such problems. But
Don't
So
let
my
Violet see you with tears.
yeah, nah.
so am I staying down here like we did with Carlos?
Until your arms and legs are back.
Oh,
I would
great.
say it's a necessity.
We can't. Unfortunately, you're kind of a meat sack at the moment, and
You think I haven't
upstairs.
noticed?
I was trying to be coy, but never mind. Thing is, people can't see you in that state.
Yeah, I get it. I get that part.
So
That
for
part
now,
I
you
get.
need to stay down here until your skin is healed back and you have your arms and legs again, and that you can move around.
If I may, staying down here may be the most safe place for you at this point as well.
What do you want about?
Well, the more you move around, the hungrier you get, and blah, 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 blah. So while you're healing, this place is relatively secure.
Yeah, you're gonna need to conserve all the blood you can.
I don't plan on going anywhere, really. I was just wondering, chains and shit? Is that a
I
thing?
didn't tell you.
Well, assuming that you don't go anywhere, I don't see why we should have to chain you up.
That's not. I don't plan to. So, yeah, I understand.
Exactly.
I look like right shit. So,
Exactly.
alright. Well, I'm gonna stay here. Could I at least get a cot?
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna be laying around, I might as well be comfortable, right?
Yeah, no, we can get a cot from upstairs.
Okay. Perfect.
Is there anything else that you need? Velda's like trying not to laugh.
No?
Very well.
Okay. I'm so confused as to why she's here. But I guess I'll catch up later.
Catch up can happen later. Velda, if you wanted to head upstairs and grab that cot so that I can semi-freshen up before...
Yeah, so I'll
Violet.
get Miss Violet to help me so that you can sneak out if you need.
Thank you. Big help.
Velda's gonna head back upstairs.
All right.
And just gonna stay there kneeling in front of Benji, kind of just wiping away the tears and in such a way as to not ruin her makeup anymore and kind of just obfuscate the fact that she's been crying. She lets out a little sigh. Really not suited to the big brain plays it seems.
No. I would have thought that would have been something like your strong suit. You know,
No.
kind of model yourself after Urian or some shit.
I couldn't approach that even if I wanted to. That has become painfully clear to me now. My kind of manipulation is different. It's more personal, I guess.
On that note, I kind of owe you, right? You saved me.
What was that?
Urian said that I owe you my life, so I guess we're stuck together for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
How does that work?
Benji?
I also owe Isabella that too. I don't know how that works.
My sire explained the basics of boons to me.
I understand the basics of boons, but I owe 2 life boons at this point.
It means that if you are called on to do something that threatens you, something that, for all intents and purposes, would be a suicide mission, that is a life boon. That is how you pay it back. By giving your life.
I mean,
So,
Isabella's like family. That goes
Then if
without
she
saying.
Then if she tells you to fall on a sword, you do it. That's what a life boon is. And now, I have that same thing. If I need you to fall on a sword for me,
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't come to that.
I hear a lot of noise coming from somebody.
Oops, sorry.
Right. So I guess that's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
You could basically throw me at anything at this point.
Well, I'm not absolutely planning on doing anything of the sort. Not yet, anyway.
Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna sneak upstairs, go freshen my makeup so that Violet doesn't see me like this. She'll find I'd rather not have to answer those questions. But
He looks like he's about to move his arm, like he wants to like rub some tears out of your eyes, but he realizes he doesn't have a hand at this point and kind of gives up.
Benji,
Yes.
she'd lean over and place a gentle kiss to his forehead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
And she'd stand, kind of freshening herself up just a little bit more.
And you're back upstairs.
Stairs.
Leaving Benji in the basement.
Yep.
Could I quickly make a awareness roll to see how much of that I heard? They weren't exactly being quiet, at least up until Velda came back upstairs.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna say that since the door was open, it's not a very hard roll. Nobody closed the door behind them until Velda came back up. And that's with wits, yeah. You heard a lot of what Benji said, because he's a loud and forceful individual. Amber a little less so. Maybe it's a little bit more muffled, but what Velda said.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was going to willpower that, but you already told me the answer, so I'm not going to.
Okay. Yeah, so
Like, just because that doesn't seem fair.
fair enough. And Amber freshens up a little bit. Velda and Violet, either both or one of you, brings down a cot for Benji so that he can get comfortable, and the three of you are free to go about your business for the rest of the night.
Velda is going to insist that Violet helps her.
Oh, of course.
All right. So both of you bring a cot down.
Yep, and Amber's gonna sneak out to her car and grab her makeup bag and very quickly freshen up.
Velda will also assist Benji into the cot. Because a lack of arms and legs means a lack of movement.
And he just gets
Wouldn't
comfortable.
Gotcha.
Just pointing this out, wouldn't that technically go against your bane?
Yeah, Benji being in a hot mess of a state would be a little bit weird, but it would simply cause her to
Be grossed out.
and have a lot of difficulty using disciplines when around Benji, but that's about it. Because I believe that's all that Toreador Clan Bane does, if I remember right.
Pretty much.
It's just Bane's
Discipline.
severity is penalty to using
disciplines,
disciplines
yeah.
when in less than beautiful surroundings.
So 9.
You'll lose the equivalent of bone severity in dice pools to use disciplines.
Yep.
That's been nerfed. Okay. If Violet gets the chance, she would possibly like to spend some time alone with Benji, but we can resolve that after the John situation.
Yes. And it is getting close to our regular stop time. So I'm going to do the scene with John, and then we are going to call the session for the night. So, John, you are making your way to the hospital where the lovely Hannah is.
Wow. It's amazing what you can do with just a room number. I look out. Seems like there's plenty to grab onto. Be a tough climb, but something that's doable. I'm in my car just scouting the area. I'm trying to get a better fix, and once I identify that room. Wow. Everything's got a way of going about it.
To spot the room from the outside, go ahead and make me a resolve plus awareness.
Nice.
Okay. You take a look around, and it does take a little while, but you do find where the room would be. It is it is scalable, but there are plenty of windows on the outside of this building, so if you don't climb up one of the sides once it's just the wall, then you would be spotted doing so.
Still, it's really late at night. A lot of windows, a lot of rooms shut off. I'll try and take it careful. Take my time with it,
Okay.
as long as it reduces. And as I do so, I pull out an old ski mask. Yeah, I'm getting too old for this shit. I start to slide on this ski mask as I get ready, being sure, or pardon, first I park the car away outside of cameras or anything like that. Trying not to do anything.
It's pretty easy.
Keep my hood up as I approach. And try and evade cameras more than anything right now. Cameras watch the street, they don't watch the walls. Especially as you go up.
And are you using any disciplines to scale the wall, or are you simply...
I am using 2 disciplines at once, actually.
Okay.
I'm going to be using prowess.
Alright.
I'm going to be using Cloak of Shadows. A little extra hunger didn't hurt nobody. I'll deserve a drink after this.
That you do. Your beast is very wily inside of your belly and saying, if we're going to go to this much effort, why don't we just eat her?
Woman didn't know who to trust. So, unfortunately, that means that we need to end up finding better routes for it. I am going to start scaling the building.
And then Cloak of Shadows, is that an obfuscate or an oblivion power?
It's an oblivion power, but it doesn't require a roll. I get +2 to stealth and +2 to intimidation to mortals.
Okay. Then go ahead and make me a strength or a dexterity plus stealth to determine how stealthy you are going to be, plus oblivion. And then a strength.
Dexterity plus stealth.
And then after that, a strength athletics plus potence.
I think I'll willpower that.
Okay.
Fuck. Well, 2 is good enough. They have mask and a hood up, so at the very least they find me, they don't know me.
Okay.
And as far as I know, I'm a really apt climber. Now you said strength plus athletics plus
Potence.
potence, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Derek rolls again. 4.
Okay. So scaling the wall, it is pretty smooth, but you are able to get your fingers deep enough into the brickwork that you have no issues climbing up, but it does make a little bit more noise than you are comfortable with.
Well, deal with that later. I've got things to do.
And so you climb up to the room. It looks like the windows do not open at this high on this high a floor. So, how do you intend to get in? If you intend to get in.
If I intend to get in. Don't open this far, huh? Well,
Safety precautions and all of that.
well, maybe. But that's the window I don't need the window to open. All I need is for the... Well... I give a... Is there enough of a... Oh no.
You do see her asleep in the bed.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be a lot trickier than I expected. However, there is something that can be done. I'm going to lightly... Can I hear her breathing? Like, I'm assuming the windows are fairly thin.
They're kind of thin. They're not terribly thick in that they're bulletproof, but they're definitely safety glass. And so you can hear the vitals monitors, you can hear her breathing, you can because that's pretty loud in the room.
I'm going to tap on the window just to get her to roll over to open her eyes.
I would like a dexterity plus subterfuge.
Dexterity plus subterfuge, sure.
You tap on the window. You think for a second that you might lose your grip for a split second, but you kind of dig your nails in a little deeper into the brick you're holding on to. You tap on the window, and you do see her roll over a little bit, but she doesn't acknowledge you.
Go ahead and do so again.
Okay.
All I need is her to do is open her eyes.
And go ahead and make that one more time.
Sure thing.
Being a little louder this time.
Maybe. I'm trying not to get too much attention.
That's
I am re-rolling 2 dice.
okie dokie.
That'll work.
Okay, so what did that changes that
cancels, That cancels the 10 effectively.
to... Okay, so it changes that to 3. You knock a little louder. She does kind of look over in your direction, or look around for a minute, and then look in your direction and see you outside the window.
As soon as our eyes meet, I say, come.
Does the word have to be heard?
Yes, it does. So I'm going to end up saying it. But I'm outside and there's 2 rooms worth of distance between me and the cops, so... She'll hear it. Them might be a little trickier.
Okay. And so you speak that word loudly, come, and she comes toward you. Like a doll.
And as soon as she ends up gaining reach, as soon as I hit, I tell her to come as close as she can to the window.
And she does as you ask.
I grab hold of the wallet that was, I procured.
Mm-hmm.
Open it up, place it just on the window ledge with cards and all that ready to hang out. And this is when I am going to literally punch through that window, grab hold of her, and rip her out of it with me both falling. We're both going to fall, but I'm going to kick off. So I'm going to land way farther out and out of sight. But for her, well, suicides happen, and clearly she's been told some distressing news.
All right. Then because this is a threat to her life, you punching into the door is going to snap her out of any compel that you have.
But she's not going to have time to respond.
Right. She's not going to have time to respond, really. So I want you to, if you want this to be a lethal blow, because it is it is only 5 stories up.
I already got lethal body.
Okay. And so any attack that you make on her is going to be lethal. And then continued fall damage is going to be lethal. I would
Go ahead.
I would like you to try, if you want to try and mitigate some of this damage, to make a dexterity athletics.
So you have no doubt that I can physically do this. It's how
much of this are you going to be able to soak for yourself?
All right. Let's find out. Not bad.
So for fall damage, for a kindred, I would say that it is 1 superficial, not halved per story.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be 5 stories worth of damage reduced by 3 based on your athletics. So you take 2 superficial damage, not halved.
All right. As soon as I land, I'm gonna roll. Kind of feel like my shoulders out of place, rush over. Now I'm smiling because that woman has jumped out, and what they're gonna find is the wallet of a missing person, never be found again. Let them chase after shit that doesn't exist. But funny part is, I'm kind of curious on what they're gonna think about our recent visitor. And why a woman would throw herself through such glass. Oh God, this hurts. Get in the car, pull off the hair mask, and I start driving. I gotta get to someplace where I can heal up.
It feels good, doesn't it?
You're goddamn right.
And you're intending to go and find someone to feed on, so you can heal?
No, I gotta go rest for a minute.
All right.
I've been pushing it real late. And right now, getting out of the scene is more important.
As you're driving away, there is a face that you maybe didn't account for. As soon as the commotion happens, a person hangs out the window to see what exactly had gone on. A doctor. They're definitely going to be very curious as to what happened here.
I'm sure. Let them figure that out.
And with that, I think we'll end this session for tonight. Thank y'all so much for playing.
Yeet.
Thank you.
This is fun.
I was not expecting anything of the sort, but oh god, oh boy,
So we have some
You said-
stains to issue.
Oh God,
we
yeah.
do. Oh yeah.
John's taking at least 2. At least.
Before any reductions,
Yeah.
John, you flat out murdered this woman.
Yep.
You are taking 3 stains for her murder.
The first degree.
You are also
I-
taking 2 stains for assisting in the murder of another individual at Benji's hand.
Could I also point out that was technically torture as well?
That's why it's a 3-stain act. And then for Benji killing someone, you would be the primary suspect in bringing that person down to Benji's maw. You were taking 2 stains for that before any reductions. Amber, Violet, Velda, each of you is taking a single stain for not doing anything to intervene in the murder of a person going in the basement before reductions. Now, let's
Your
talk
silent consent is all it takes.
any convictions that any of you would be able to use to reduce those stains.
I can reduce by 1, but it won't make a difference.
Nope.
And I've taken enough stains to fill my entire willpower tracker.
Your humanity tracker, you mean?
I filled the humanity tracker and the overlap went to willpower.
So you're in degeneration.
Ah.
So I still got to roll, but
I think it's aggravated willpower damage, is it?
no. It's you take it out of the willpower. It's basically I have taken as much. I can do as much as I could tonight. I can't do any more. Yeah, it's been too hot for me.
Yeah, it's been a...
Yeah.
Does that bleed over into willpower, or is that an automatic humanity loss?
It's they become impaired.
Yep.
And they take 1 point of aggravated willpower damage for each stain they could not fit in the open boxes.
Yeah. So I got so that's 2 points of aggravated willpower, and yep, I am.
Then you have 1 die to roll humanity.
Yeah. I drop.
Yep. Convictions for Violet.
Nope. I have none.
Then roll your remorse.
I stay at 7.
This sending someone down to their death is an atrocious act. It will haunt you. Violet. Do you have any
Violet.
convictions that would reduce your stains?
You mean me, right?
And Violet. Or Velda.
Violet.
Velda,
You
rather.
did very-
Velda.
Velda, rather.
No.
My bad. Okay.
Nope.
Velda, if you do not have
Nope.
any convictions to reduce your stains, roll your remorse.
How many dice am I rolling for that?
You took 1 stain, yes?
Yes.
Then you would roll the... Let me see how you had looked at that on your character sheet. Okay. So the... you are at humanity 7, yes?
Yeah.
So let me show you how that looks. So you have the 1 filled, the 7 filled. You start at the right hand side to mark slashes.
Oh,
The number of blank is the number of dice you will be rolling. So you have 2 humanity dice to roll.
Okay.
This is not acceptable.
It was horrifying.
Horrifying. You saw the carnage on the floor and it sticks with you. What Benji did to that poor person was just awful. Amber.
So I am going to try and justify this with my conviction as basically getting Benji back up and walking. Like Benji being incapacitated as he is based as far as Amber is concerned, is a direct impetus to her desires. She needs him up and walking around to get. She feels she needs him up and walking around to get this done, and that was the only way to get him up and walking around, is to feed him blood.
Okay, so let's take into consideration your ambition and your desire. In what way does Benji help you in those?
In the removal of Trent, considering Deacon is already gone, in the removal of Trent, she needs someone that she can trust if things get physical, and she can't trust John yet. So the only person that she can trust, who she knows is able to do physical stuff, is Benji.
Then I would say that justifies your stain. That you are able to wash that off.
I don't feel good. Oh, I really do not feel good at all about having to do that. But
Obviously
it was
not.
what was necessary. But it was what was necessary to get Benji up and.
So congratulations, Amber. You're responsible for 2 deaths tonight.
Yep. I don't feel good.
Ooh. Yeah, I should have had you stained for that second one too, but you know. We've already moved on, so. Any recovered willpower?
No, I had an opportunity, but I didn't take it. So
I succeeded my desire to secure permission to establish a haven in Batista's domain.
Perfect, you recover an aggravated willpower.
That's a good question.
Benji is also going to roll remorse.
He did murder someone.
Oof.
He did
Sadly,
kill someone in a hunger frenzy.
sadly, he feels incredibly justified that someone had to die as a result. It looks messy, and that's probably the thing that bothers him more.
Yeah.
What humanity is Benji now?
6. He was at 7. But, Velda, do you recover any willpower?
No, not at the moment.
And John? I already...
nope.
Nope.
No, it's me.
Just I will recover a few from my resolve, but I don't heal any of my aggravated just yet.
Okay, perfect.
Now that's a good question, because mine was to orchestrate the removal of Trent and Deacon. And as far as Amber is aware, Deacon is now removed from the equation.
You didn't orchestrate it, though.
Yeah, I didn't orchestrate it, so... If it is alright with you, I would like to change my desire, considering one of those conditions is now gone.
You are free
Like,
to do
as in it
so
can't
before
be
the
done?
start of next session. Yes.
Okay, but then I don't regain any willpower.
Nope. Nope. Nobody else is recovering willpower?
Nope.
Except
Alright.
for Violet.
Yep, Violet gets to. Now, let's move on to some experience.
Hey,
One
the good
for
stuff.
everybody in the coterie.
Yay.
Yay!
And now we work on the individual experience based on how you did, much like we do in Detroit. Who had the best scene, who moved our plot the furthest, and who had the best line. So, moving the plot.
John.
Yeah, John. John or Violet?
Whoops, I wasn't.
You were muted. Yes.
I would argue John for best scene, but actually advancing the plot, I would argue Violet more.
I would say Violet.
Yeah, I think Violet moved, basically got rid of Deacon single-handedly. If that's not moving the plot as far as the stuff that's going on right now, I don't know what is.
Mux, what do you think?
Well, I did say John, but they do make a point that Violet did do a lot.
Then Violet gets our experience for plot. Best scene.
John for his Spider-Man.
That last scene with
I ran
John.
into this old man. What the hell can he do? Well, apparently he can scale a building and cause a woman to end up enacting a suicide.
Yep. Spider John. Death comes from the wall, apparently. Oh god.
And with potence, makes all the difference.
It's beat stone.
What they don't actually know is that Nightmare at 20,000 feet is a biography of how John learnt that technique.
Yep. Is it unanimous? John gets the best scene?
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Alright.
Either for that one or for going full Jigsaw.
Yes.
I loved that. That was so good.
I really wish he didn't call it out. It's like, yeah, that's the inspiration initially for the visual of the character. Really
Velda's
bad
just
impression of
like,
the voice, but I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna run with it. Like, why not?
Velda's just like, I didn't realize you were a movie buff.
Yeah.
Best line.
I wanna
Didn't
play.
want to
Aw,
die. Shouldn't have been smoking.
Yeah.
And then there was another really good one in Children and Their Toys, Priests and Their Boys.
Boys. Yeah.
I forgot I'd said that one.
Uh-huh.
You did. And it's
So, like,
recorded.
I'm tossing up between the two of those.
I mean, I could think of lines from everyone tonight. Like, I said, yeah, children and their toys, priests and their boys.
If he didn't want to die, he shouldn't be smoking.
Yeah, I want to play a game. And, I think, like, not to toot my own horn, but, like, Amber's sorry to Benji.
Yeah.
Before
It's
she
so
got on my
heartfelt.
I'll tell you what. How about we just make it a
Four-way roll-off?
then? Four-way
Yeah.
roll-off. I'm going high.
Yep, hi it is.
Hi.
Hi, it is. Womp, 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 womp. All four of you get that experience. Well done.
Go.
Well done. Any experience expenditures
muscle in
tonight?
Not right
No.
now.
How?
Now here's the question.
Yes.
Would I be able to start investing in my New Haven now, or do you want me to wait the few in-game nights?
I'm going to say if you want to go ahead and spend the experience and take the dots now, you can. I'm not going to make you wait in character for that. I mean, I'm going to make you wait in character for that, but I'm not going to make you wait out of character, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just the biggest problem would be I am actually moving havens.
Yeah.
So I don't want there to technically be a doubling of dot during the
No.
next few nights.
It's one of those if you're moving haven, so you're taking the dots you already have and moving them to another location. So in Violet's off time, she would have been looking for like the house part of a haven. The business is like, you know, that's the thing that still needs to be set up, but you would have a place to sleep. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's still being, like... It's not even that it has to be renovated, it's just that purchased. And then you add whatever you want to the existing thing. It has the basic accommodations, like, you know, all sorts of club stuff. You just need to change it in character to your preferences.
Yeah. Which means I'm going to.
That's what the
invest-
2 days. That's what the 2 days is.
Yeah.
Is changing
In
it
which
to
case
your
I'm gonna
preferences.
Invest 6 XP, so 2 dots.
Okay.
into my haven.
Okay.
Uh,
Did you have Haven dots before that?
I did.
So you are a total of 3.
I would be going up to a size 3 haven
Size 3. Okay.
with a cell as part of it already.
Okay. And that's a 1-dot cell.
That is a 1-dot cell.
Go ahead in the character sheet, make that on 2 separate lines, because that is 2 different trackable stats. So if you wanted to increase your cell
now that my
size,
haven is getting bigger, yeah.
if you wanted to increase your dungeon size, you would be able to do so at this location.
And I am also going to, if you would permit it, pick location.
Location, I will have to read up what exactly that grants you, but that would be something that you would have available to you, yes.
Your haven now has one of the most fashionable or otherwise exclusive areas of the city.
Okay.
CoffeeCat, I had to PM you a question.
Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Just a yes or no.
Let me look at that actually. That is a yes.
Thanks for the clarification.
All right. So, everybody spend experience as much as they wanted?
Yeah, I can't spend anything at the moment. I'm only at 2.
Also, just to clarify, instead of getting location, I'm gonna go for luxury.
Go luxury. All right, perfect. And that adds to like things like persuasion rolls and things like that.
2 dice bonus to social tests dealing with mortal guests in your haven.
Perfect. You invite people over and you have advantage.
Because I have 3 dots of resources, my decor was gained legally.
Perfect. All right. So, Miss Violet now has her new haven and is looking rather ravishing in it. And nobody else is spending XP, so that does it for tonight's session. Thank you all so much for playing. What did you think?
Good fun.
Oh god.
Amber is internally screaming.
There's
Zelda's
no
like,
internal
"It's a
right
mess."
there.
I really enjoyed the heartfelt moment between Amber and Benji, I'm not gonna lie.
I love that. I love that.
It's so good.
Good.
I wanted to give the XP to that, but then all of a sudden it's like Spider John, Spider John,
Spider John.
Yeah. I mean, really think on how horrifying that experience must be for her, right? She just kind of hears a tapping, opens her eyes, and all of a sudden her body starts moving on its own. Just walks to it. There's this man in a ski mask just outside the window, and her body's moving on its own. And all of a sudden his hand reaches through, and you just are able to get control just long enough for your arms to start flailing and screaming as you end up plummeting through what is solid glass. Right? This is not normal glass. This is tempered.
Yep.
You'll go through it. Safety glass. So you're already cut to shit. You have to put your full body weight into it. You need to throw yourself through it, right? You don't lean on it. You have to throw yourself through it. And now you are cut out, bleeding, screaming, and all you see is pavement coming right for you. And you were already in critical care beforehand. You don't survive this shit.
Nope.
You did.
I was actually expecting Amber to stop him, but she
Amber
never
didn't.
did, and I was like, huh, that's
Amber
interesting.
Amber didn't have any other choice. Amber was
Well,
like, I've screwed them. I
she-
like.
Did though.
You
Well, the thing
always
is,
have
she
a
could've
choice,
just-
Amber.
Well, the thing is, she could have stopped it, but then it's like, then what? And at the same time, it's also me going,
Then you
Yeah,
have
I
other
don't know how-
resources at your disposal.
I mean, I could have
Ooh.
called her or something, but
I actually realized something on reading my stuff after my police station escapades. Entrancement works with any social skill checks,
yep,
Mhm.
including intimidation checks.
yep.
Which means I could have, and Derek, please feel free to correct me if I'm missing this one. I could have also popped Daunt. So I was getting +6 to an intimidation check due to entrancement adding my presence and Daunt adding my presence.
That's what I'm gonna have to look at some errata on, because I'm not sure that you could have both. I know that Daunt and Awe can't be popped at once. I don't know if that applies to entrancement.
Yeah, no, presence power effects do not stack. So someone using Awe and Entrancement on the same subject would only add their presence rating once for any social-based persuasion roll. And I'd say it'd probably be the same for Daunt and Intimidation and Entrancement. Sorry, Daunt and Entrancement and Intimidation.
Yeah, I'll double check the ruling on that, but I would definitely say
266, they don't stack.
Yeah, it says explicitly that they don't stack, so...
yeah, single application of presence dice.
I mean, that's probably for the best, or otherwise presence would be
OP.
an exceptionally overpowered discipline.
Yep.
Because if you were willing to spend enough blood, it could literally be, if it was in the right spot, you could lingering kiss either Daunt or Awe and entrancement someone, and you're adding presence dots 3 times for any charisma based. In the case of Awe, persuasion or performance, or in the case of Daunt, intimidation. And a +9 is, like, just with 3 dots in presence is crazy. That's not even considering having even more dots.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was just something I thought, and like I just completely forgot to double check the core rulebook.
That's fair.
Coffee.
Yes.
I mentioned I wanted to have a little chat with Benji when no one else was around.
Yes.
Do you want to do that as a vignette or when we start next session?
Either way, whichever you want to do.
I mean, entirely
What
up to you, because it's the case of I might not get a chance to be alone with Benji until next session when Amber and Velda go off to deal with the priest.
Yeah, because Velda probably won't willingly leave Violet alone with Benji. Not unless she has to, absolutely has to. She does not trust Violet as far as she can throw her.
What's everybody got against Violet? She's just doing her thing.
Exactly, that's the problem.
And all I will say is that from what Violet overheard with from what was said by Benji and from what sort of mumblings she heard, you have dug a hole deep enough that I can lay some pretty solid foundations.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is a thing that you can do.
I can.
Mhm.
Oh, it's still sinking in on what the fuck I just did.
That maniacal laughter is beautiful.
No, that's not maniacal. That's sadness. I like characters that are vicious, right? But I don't like characters that's like the whole point with Johnny's just emotionally detached from everything.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He was sired in the traditional La Sombra way, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. That explains and entirely justifies John.
Yeah. John is. I guess the best way to describe it is he's an older Benji. He's an older, wiser Benji. Yeah, he's very good at what he does, and Dear fucking God. Did I really just pull
Yes.
the woman through a fucking
Window.
Through a
Yes.
fucking window. 5 stories up. In critical care.
She's now,
the
whatever she
cops
was
figured
before,
that one out.
she's now jelly.
The
Yeah,
biggest
let the
problem
cops
is
figure that one
we now have a repeat of the O'Donoghue situation, where one of our coterie members, coterie in quotation marks are out of character purposes, was now the last person seen in relation to a mysterious death or disappearance.
Yep.
Well, what's he
Hey,
seen?
Amber, how's that feel?
No. I'm talking about you, Amber.
Oh,
She's like, oh, fuck.
see, on that one though, Amber can just play it off as Amber now though is in the position to play it off, as I didn't see any Dante O'Donoghue. I was just in the room with her, and there was a doctor in there beforehand. I had a small chat with her, and then I left. And
And she
that was
got
it.
apparently panicked enough that they assigned her police protection.
Yeah.
Actually, that's given me a thought. But I'm not going to be able to put it into play until Velda hears about Hannah's death.
Which will be on the news the next day.
Yay.
Stay tuned for that, everybody. But we're going to go
Yeah.
ahead and sign off the stream. Thank you to everybody who came by to watch. And I hope you all have a wonderful night. Say good night, my lovely players.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good evening.